Hey gang, David Anarelli here. The video I chose this week was picked from several that I considered, but in the end I went with another TED Talk. This time with a video called Run for Your Life, at a comfortable pace and not too far, by Dr. James O'Keefe Jr. He's a cardiologist and the director of Preventive Cardiology Fellowship Program and the director of Preventive Cardiology at Cardiovascular Consultants at the St. Luke's Mid-America Heart Institute. He begins his talk with a mention of Phidippides from 490 BC. He was a Greek messenger who ran 26 miles from Marathon, Greece to Athens to proclaim the victory over Persia and dropped dead as soon as he had delivered the news. Dr. O'Keefe then goes on to talk about a friend of his who was a longtime marathon runner. He offered to do a scan of his heart and found that his arteries were essentially harder than bone. He then mentions a few of the benefits of running and exercise and also the detriments of exercising too much. The information thus far led to his discussion topic, which is that moderate exercise is best overall. The dose makes the poison, as he says. He makes it clear not only does exercise cut mortality rates in half, but it also reduces the risk of heart disease, Alzheimer's, osteoporosis, depression, and a whole range of problems. But after about 60 minutes of exercise, the arteries begin to stretch from the continued pressure. Catecholamine levels and adrenaline levels rise, free radicals begin to blossom, and the inside of the coronary arteries begin to become inflamed. Essentially, the heart begins to burn. Troponin levels rise, which means one thing to a cardiologist: heart muscle has died. It's due to micro tears from the arterial stretching. It's all right once or twice, but over a lifetime and in veteran endurance athletes, scar tissue begins to build up. Studies show 62% more plaque buildup in what cardiologists call ventricular tachycardia, which is a life-threatening rhythm seen in veteran endurance athletes. Dr. O'Keefe then goes on to talk about Micah True, who was a legendary runner in northern Mexico. They called him Caballo Blanco, the white horse, because of how much he ran. And he dropped dead one day, and the autopsy showed an enlarged heart, built up scar tissue from extreme running. As Dr. O'Keefe points out, it's true that runners live longer, but moderate runners are healthier. He recommends slowing it down to 6 to 7 miles per hour, less than 25 miles a week, and only 2 to 5 days per week. When you compare moderate joggers to extreme runners, the extreme conditions actually cause a loss in benefits. Dr. O'Keefe closes with a study done on mice. They hammered these mice with exercises and found an enlarged heart condition. But when they backed them down to moderate levels of exercise, their hearts returned to normal. Dr. O'Keefe puts exercise on a U-curve. Too much and too little are dangerous, but the middle in the moderate area is best. All things in moderation is still true, even in exercise. To quote Hippocrates from 440 BC, the right amount of nourishment in exercise, not too little, not too much, is the safest way to health. Obviously, this relates to health and wellness coaching in that it is important to know how much exercising we really need to be focusing on. Exercise in general is shown to reduce the risk factors of cardiovascular diseases, but it is also important to note that the conditions, even once they have begun, are in fact reversible. Hoger and Fossen, 2018. The good news is when it comes to exercise, what we need is not as much as you'd think. Way more than none, but a good bit less than a lot. This information would be useful to a client by helping them to find the right amount of exercise for a personal program. I believe that clarifying the best range helps to narrow down the possibility of overdoing it, which is quite easy to do, especially in the beginning. Again, clients looking to lose weight, reduce blood pressure, and unhealthy lipid levels in the blood could benefit from this information as well. But also clients who have maybe gone at it all gung-ho hoping to be healthier and found themselves in trouble for taking it to the extreme. By helping them to see the benefits and the balance, it could greatly benefit their program as well. I really like the amount of research that goes into some of these TED Talks, especially the ones on medical research. I really enjoy the groundbreaking information that some of them disclose. It makes me feel like maybe I can get a bit of an edge into the truth about health before some big pharma rep tries to sell me the latest miracle pill. But I digress. God is very clear that we should be careful in how we handle anything pertaining not only to His kingdom, but our bodies as well. After all, they are the actual temples of the living God. Paul wrote in his first letter to the church at Corinth, when they said that all things were lawful, Paul points out that not all things are helpful. 1 Corinthians 6:12, English Standard Version. And I know he was speaking of sin, but the relevant principle is that exercise is good, but too much may not be best. I've spent times in my life well outside the boundaries of moderation, but the Lord has shown me a much safer place in the balance of the middle ground. I would hope to convey this message of moderation to anyone, especially a coaching client who's come to me for help. The valley is low sometimes, but nothing grows on the mountaintop, so perhaps somewhere between the valley and the mountaintop is where we can find a place to thrive. I hope you had as much fun with this as I did. May the Lord bless each of you beyond measure. Merry Christmas.